Welcome back to the Stormcast, everybody. My name is Ellie Hochberg. This is the podcast where we discuss all things TABC sports. I'm here with my co-host, Oren Glickman. Oren, how are you doing today?
Good. Another unpredictable week of TABC sports. Now we're heading into midterm season. Want to wish our student athletes, in fact, want to wish our whole student body best of luck with midterms. And then just like Hanukkah break, where we have a policy of no TABC games, no practices. We don't practice now. We don't play now, with the exception of a rare Saturday night varsity basketball game at Mag and David. But there are no midterms on Sunday, obviously, so that's why we're allowed to have that game. And then we'll head into another long break. And before you know it, that first day we get back, we wrap up some regular season games, and then we're into the heat of playoff season.
Yeah, and don't worry, we'll preview that MDY game briefly. But first, we have a very special interview with one of the stars of the JV basketball team, Zachary Lowe, in what many consider an upset win, which we'll discuss a little more in a little bit. TABC beat Frisch by 25. Zachary Lowe was a big contributing part of that as a sophomore, and we'll cut there right now. We are here with Zachary Lowe, one of the best players on this JV basketball team that had a big win against Frisch this past week. Zachary, after getting, let's say, blown out or bad loss, first time you guys played Frisch, what changed this time that you guys were able to play so well against Frisch?
I would say our mindset, especially our coaches really, I think from the last Frisch game, I think lack of effort, discipline, and just all factors, but especially in this Frisch game, we changed up our game plan. We really our effort was there. I just felt it. We were clicking. They weren't. We just played as a team, and I just think that was the main reason why we were able to beat them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, obviously, that game. I think it was now it's been 3 weeks. That was a game to forget for a lot of us. But you guys had an opportunity, and you guys didn't practice all that much leading up to that game. So, what was really emphasized in those 1 or 2 practices heading into the Frisch rematch?
So we really emphasized. First we did a lot of plays against man, which helped us tremendously. We were able to kind of because they knew our plays really well at the Frisch game. I would say they knew our plays better than we did, but we got 2 new plays, helped us, a new defensive strategy, which was, we need to get in front of Joseph Munoz, don't give him anything, and our coaches did a great job. The game plan, really, I would say.
Mm-hmm. And it's kind of ironic. Both games ended up in 25-point wins.
Yeah.
For both teams. I think with that win, it's a big boost in terms of, potentially getting that first round bye for the playoffs. For this team, how crucial would that first round bye be?
It would help us tremendously. I would like to have a first round bye, to know that, we have an advantage on everyone. First round home court advantage through the playoffs. It would be really neat. And I think if we beat JC, we have first round bye, if I'm correct. But yeah, it would help us a lot.
Yes, it's a tiebreaker. I think is a little unclear
at
this moment. But yeah, if you beat JC, you're definitely in a good position. Well, speaking of the JC game, what are you looking? JC is a very, very good team. Same record as us. What are you looking forward to in that game?
In fact, not to cut you off, Ellie, but I believe that was a game. That's a team that we actually already played in the Shoresh tournament, and Zachary did not play in that game.
Yeah. So JC, people are saying it's a free win, but no game in Yeshiva League is a free win. I just think if we play how we did versus Frisch, it won't be a game. So they're a good team. They beat us last time. I think there's kind of a rivalry between them and us, I would say, especially after the game. There was kind of tension. I mean, I wasn't there, but maybe if I was there, it'd be a different story, but we'll see.
Let's talk about your evolution as a player. Freshman year, I think opportunities were quite limited for you. And now I think you're one of the sophomores on this team, along with Sammy Haberman, that the guys really depend on. What do you attest that to in terms of your evolution as a player? Maybe you went on an amazing summer program with amazing staff, and that's what helped you build your game. Elaborate on that for us.
Yeah, so freshman year, I mean, the team was freshman year. Like, it was hard for opportunities. I mean, there were 20 kids on the team. I think I've just gotten a lot better, gotten a lot stronger. I put in the work over the off season. Like, I think the main thing for me is a confidence issue. Like, I was just confident, like skinny little kid that like whatever. But now, like, here I am, like whatever. Like, I just my confidence is just like my mental. I'm just mentally like in it. I think that's my main thing for me.
Yeah. I guess my final question, then I'll let Ellie have the floor. I think there are a lot of people who did not have TABC JV basketball on their radar heading into this season. But now a lot of people are talking about you guys as if you can win the whole thing and win a chip. Is talk about this internally as a team. Did you guys always believe as a team that you were capable of winning this whole thing?
I'm gonna say honestly, beginning of the season, I saw a roster and I said, I don't know, maybe we'll be 500, 6-4, maybe, but because like Frisch and SR, but then like the coaches done a tremendous job. We really like have a strong culture, foundation, everything. We play like if we play as a team, I seriously think we have most talent in the league. We could win the championship. Which if I said that 2 months ago, people would call me crazy, but like not now.
So that kind of leads into my final question: is what are the expectations for us for the rest of the season? What can we look forward to?
Um, yeah. So after JC, we have Boca coming up, which it's a tougher tournament than Montreal. So we'll see what we could do, and then playoffs, which is final run for us. So we're hoping to make a big run.
And that's why the bye is kind of crucial because
Right.
you have a long layoff in between Boca and more time to practice for the first playoff game.
Yeah.
Zachy, thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
Any shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, exactly.
Shout out, not really. Shout out everyone on the team and coaches.
All right.
Thank you so much. We look
Best of
forward to
luck on the
seeing
midterm.
you and the team succeed in the future.
Thank you.
And that game was truly an incredible game. I think we all came in with somewhat low expectations for that game after getting blown out. After TBC got blown out by Frisch at Frisch. And they just came out of the gate looking really hot. Oren, what are your takeaways from this game? Who are the stars of the game?
Well, if you recall, I think maybe I don't think you were on that last show. Me and Noak, when we discussed the first game of Frisch, I told him that I knew for a fact that the rematch at TABC would be a lot closer. I just wasn't we're going to win. I just wasn't sure if we were going to win the game. So not only did we win the game, but we won the game by the same deficit where we lost at Frisch.
So arguably it was not closer.
Yeah, but I was I was wowed. I was completely wowed. Sometimes when you get punched, you have to punch right back, and that's exactly what this team did. So now, they're both in a fight now for the one seed out of the conference. I think they're both in a pretty good position in terms of clinching a first round bye if they both come out on top against JEC. But now, because they both won by 25, they'll the second tiebreaker will be SOS strength of schedule. So right now, Ramaz, who TABC lost to, have a better record than Hillel, who Frisch lost to. So we'll see. But in terms of Sunday, that was an amazing day for TABC Sports. A great program-defining win. The coaches should be proud of themselves. Sammy Haberman, Zachy Lowe led as sophomores. Tani Stein had a great game. I think it's unbelievable when you beat one of the best teams in the league by such a resounding margin, while Ezra Adams had a completely quiet game.
Yeah, and just to say, we're not saying this in Ezra Adams like denigration. No, like it's that. No. I just need to clarify. Like this is like it's like despite the fact that Ezra Adams actually scored 4 points. Tani Stein dropped I think like he had a lot of points. I'm not sure exactly the amount. Sammy Haberman at 22 and 11. Noke and I were on the call. We had a great time on the call. Sorry, Oren.
That fourth quarter with Sammy shooting,
Yeah.
I thought it was going in every time.
I was going wild. If you want to play the clip, if you want, we were going.
Give me a second. I'll play it in a second.
Okay, so we'll continue talking.
And to Sammy's credit, when there were switches, he did a good job himself covering Munoz, and that's what allowed him to get those 10+ rebounds. Sammy's been underrated on the glass.
Exactly, and the defense really shut everyone down. I mean, like last time, it seemed like everyone.
Right. Munoz, I think, was the only
first
player who had a good game that day.
At first, it felt like every three was dropping for them. This game felt the opposite. We felt like we got a lot more opportunities. Zaki Lowe, as you mentioned, he was really. I felt like he played really well on the boards. Played really big. Again, another big game. Rotationally, there was a lot of interesting rotation changes.
Yeah, I would say two players that deserve honorable mentions here on this show are Rafi Karasik and Shai Bukel.
Yeah, those two, they might not show up in the points category. I think they had like 3 points combined or something like that. Not so many. But
even though I think next to Sammy Haberman, Rafi Karasik is the best 3-point shooter on the team.
Yeah, and they both they played with effort. They gave a fresh spark to this team. They really impressed in that first game where we were being blown out. I think that's what partially got them more playing time on Sunday, and they really impressed.
I think also the game plan. Oh, I'm sorry, Nope. You had something to say?
Yeah, can I just play the video now? I have it.
Yeah.
I doubt they're thinking about it right now. Adams over to Haberman. Haberman again! 3 for 3! Yay! Haberman 3 for 3! Haberman! 9 straight points! Signed up by Frisch. Haberman is play out of his mind. I think.
Last 3, I believe.
As you can see, I was going wild. I may or may not have been talking over Noke.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, but
no. Listen, that's it. That's a game that we're going to remember for a long time. They really, I think they just needed to win the game, but the fact that they won by 25, it completely erases the memory of what happened at Frisch that night.
Oh, completely. And the reason it was so big is that coming in, Noke and I were talking about it on the call, that even if they were going to win, there was no chance to get the tiebreaker, meaning we'd have to play first round. And then when Haberman hit those 3, and Sam hit those 3 threes, that's when things started to get really real.
I think it definitely would have. Well, not necessarily, because they could lose to SAR for their last game of the season, and we can beat JEC, and then we would have a better record than them.
I meant like assuming both teams win out. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Both JEC and SAR are really good teams. It would not shock me if both TABC or especially it wouldn't shock me if one loses or both lose. Wouldn't shock me. Both are great teams. So the point is that's when things got really real. When we were up by 14 and Sam hit those 3 straight threes, I was like, "There's a chance."
Yeah.
Solly Lazarson.
Solly Lazarson, with that bucket.
Yeah, bucket that made it 25.
Tied up the margins.
And it was all around just a great win. I think they really impressed. They have a little bit of a break now until January 30th, where it's that doubleheader against JEC. As Zachy talked about, as we talked about, JEC is not a pushover team. Sometimes you think about these not as big
Rose
schools.
Rosado is one of the best players in the league.
Exactly. JEC is 6-2 right now. They beat Hillel. They beat very formidable teams. The sole team that beat Frisch, of course, without Judah Sauce, who's one of their stars. But
they beat TABC.
Exactly. So this
rush.
Yeah. So this team, I'm just sure not a lot of people saw. Also, not Yeshiva League. So it might not have less, but it's very true. Nonetheless, so I think that game should be a game that's on more people's radar. That'll be on January 30th. I think that's the Thursday night after we get back from Yeshiva Week. It'll be a great game, great doubleheader. Any final notes you want to add for JV basketball?
Well, Noke asked in our private chat, at what point did Zachy Lowe? I think you're asking about that first Zachy Lowe block, right?
Yeah, no, the first one, yeah.
The first one.
Yeah, that was monstrous. Yeah, he chased him down. Zachy Lowe also.
Who was it? Was Irvis that he?
You know what that was in the game?
It was pretty early, I think. The first one was early in the game.
Yeah.
I think we were down even at that point. It was like 5-3 or something like that. It was early. Yeah,
And
Zachy.
I think I think the coaches deserve a lot of credit for this win. It's not easy picking yourselves back up after a loss like that. They only had one practice after Hanukkah, and they had a final walkthrough the night before. They went to TABC at like 9:30 p.m. to have like one last second walkthrough before the game at noon on Sunday. So it goes to show you how dedicated our coaches were to winning this game. I think I would also add they had a good game plan in terms of, daring certain people on Frisch to beat them and, not making sure it wasn't a Munoz or a Suss or a Gervis. They tried to do everything they could to get Frisch's other players involved. And I think that's also what worked. The rotation that they went with, they got the personnel right from top to bottom in terms of who they used in that game. And to echo Zachy's sentiments, everything was clicking that game.
Yeah, exactly. It just felt like nothing could go wrong at certain after the first quarter. It just felt like nothing could go wrong.
Right,
Even the first
2-8-0
quarter,
runs, one in the second and one in the third.
yeah, and even the first quarter, like we were playing well. I know we were up by one against French. After that, I just felt like nothing could go wrong for this team.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking forward to everything that they could see. That we'll look forward. I think we'll have an episode before Boca. Boca's in February, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we should have an episode before then where we could preview that tournament. I think this is the first time TABC participating in Boca.
Yeah, well, they play JEC that Thursday, then they leave for Boca on Sunday. So
okay, so I think we could do it before then. I think.
Is it possible that how last year the 1 seed came down to SAR and Frisch and Boca? Is it possible that it could come down to TABC, Frisch, and Boca this year?
Like Boca decided it?
Yeah, I think the game in Boca last year decided the Frisch, SAR, and 1 seed game.
Oh.
They agreed. They agreed to it with the league.
I don't know. That's what I remember. I vaguely remember this happening. I don't know if it was true, but I vaguely remember.
You would have to get the commissioner to agree to that.
Yeah, that's a little.
Hawk, do you remember this happening?
I don't remember it honestly. It's completely possible it happened. I don't remember it, but could be.
Someone can do a fact check. I've never seen an out of town tournament determine what happens in the Yeshiva League.
Yeah, if you want to fact check, you can.
I'll fact check.
Okay.
Yeah.
But moving on to the games last night, if you would have asked me, what's the most likely outcome?
Listen, we're not betting men, but if anyone plays a wager on varsity losing and JV winning, they're very rich men out there right now.
Yeah, exactly. Those must have been pretty bad odds because I would say our varsity team was the favorite and SAR's JV team was the favorite, and underdogs won in both games. Of course, both games I don't think they were such underdogs, but we'll start off with the game that happened first. A little bit of a disappointment per se, but it's all right. This team will bounce back in varsity hockey. So varsity hockey jumped out to a 3-0 lead, was unfortunately unable to hang on to it. Of course, we're not going to harp too much on the negatives here, but Oren, what could we learn from this game? Unfortunately, SAR came back, won 4-3. Great effort by them. I'm not giving up. But what can we learn from this game? What were the positives?
It's important to note that we didn't have our head coach. Coach Mo Fuchs was under the weather, so unfortunately, that was a loss for us. But hopefully, he'll be back for the final swing once we're back from Yeshiva break. I would say it's all psychological. It was 3-0, and SAR scored their first goal with only 1:22 left in the first period. I think that's what set the tone going into the following periods. They continued to battle, they continued to fight, and we kind of took our foot off the gas a little bit. I didn't hear or see much from Adam Rausman after his 2 goals in the first period.
Yeah, of course. The first 6 minutes of the first period, I was like, oh my gosh, this team is like gonna cakewalk over this team, gonna cakewalk to the championship. But we both know that. We all know that. It's actually our team is now a team that's on. Exactly.
Cannot be trampled with. But listen, I know people always have differing opinions when it comes to this. I'm really in this boat. As a huge Giants fan, I love when the pressures of going undefeated are off your back.
Yeah, you said that many times,
Mm-hmm.
Noak and I. That and you're right. That's the certain way to look at it in a positive light.
And honestly, it could be a good kick in the butt for them.
Exactly. I think
their 1 seed is not jeopardized at all because while they still have the same amount of points as DRS, they're still the 1 seed by the tiebreaker.
Exactly. If they win out, they're going to be the 1 seed.
Right.
So
But those 2 games that they still have left are no walks in the park.
exactly.
Hank will be a tough away game, and Kushner's not bad.
Exactly. So I guess we'll start previewing, but not to harp on the loss too much. I just to mention that Aiden Rousman had 2 very early two early goals.
Arias goal was amazing.
Yeah, that was.
I know you guys couldn't see it all that well because of
I saw it a little
because of the artificial intelligence camera, but
I'm lucky that was like one of the 3 goals we saw.
Yeah.
It was a little wonky, but it's all right. The final 2 games of the season is TBC going to Hank, Mote Shabbos on so the 1st of February actually. So that week's gonna be jam packed and because the next game is that Tuesday, senior night, I believe.
I will actually be leaving the Boca tournament early in order to be at senior night that night.
Wow.
So
hopefully, I'm not sure what you're hoping for to make the championship.
That's dedication.
Yeah, I don't want you to miss the championship, but
I actually worked it out in terms of my flight being in. Well, hopefully, I'm not too far from the airport. If we are in the finals of Boca, I should be able to watch at least the beginning of it.
Oh wow! Okay, so it's not so early, but point still remains. Kushner coming to TABC on the 4th again. Hopefully, we can preview those games. If not. So we'll give a small preview. Hank, it's a very good team. Top one of the tops of their conference.
I've argued they're one of the best players in the league, and it's hockey.
Yeah, they are 8-3. They play DRS well. Their losses are.
I believe they took DRS to overtime, and that game was at the Greenhouse.
Exactly. Yeah, that's correct. I just schedule. Yeah. So they lost to DRS and SAR and Nailbiters, and they lost to Flatbush. So they're a very good team. They should play us well, especially late game, 9:00. I know last night's game was also late, but it wasn't scheduled that late. And then on the 4th, Kushner coming to us. We talked about how this Kushner team is very underrated. So one of the best players in the league.
And Orbeck.
It should be a good game to be. Yeah, exactly. This game should be a game to look forward to.
I believe actually when Kushner came to TABC last year, they gave TABC one of their toughest home games of the season.
Again, this Kushner team is not one. I guess similar to the sense of JEC is that maybe you look at them in another sport and you're like, oh, they're not good. It's not completely not true. Those 2 games should be good games. Any final notes for varsity hockey, Oren?
I think last night was a wake up call, but I don't think we should read too much into it. I still think this is the best team in the league, but it's a lesson for all of us that you can't take anything for granted, and even the best can be beaten on any given night.
Exactly. And that kind of moves into our.
Hold on, wait. Before we go to JV hockey, I had 2 videos to play.
Okay.
And then the moment they made the playoffs.
So that was Marty Teitelbaum's power play goal
exactly that we couldn't really see.
Just to clarify for our viewers,
yeah. So I was going to say
we are not officially in the playoffs.
Sorry.
We took a giant step towards the playoffs. We still have to finish strong and beat Rambam in our regular season home finale. And to clarify for our viewers, the reason why a lot of us are already optimistic about that is because Rambam is an 0-9 team and have lost to everyone, including MTA, by more than 5 goals.
Exactly.
Can you imagine if they lost to Rambam and that's how they missed the playoffs?
Or tied Rambam.
After how confident we've all been in the past couple hours.
Yeah, we've all been incredibly.
Listen,
this is a lesson. This is the lesson exactly that we're in this game. And I was going to segue in, but you had a few clips. So
listen, even myself, we're going to win this game.
Listen, but we didn't clinch playoffs. Just to give a little background, we were at 7 points going into this game. In order to make the playoffs, we had to get to 11 points, which was at what Hafter was at. Hafter did beat us head-to-head. The tiebreaker is total wins. So if we had to beat SAR and Rambam, we would make the playoffs. SAR last night really, I think probably the best these teams look against like a really good team, or a playoff caliber team, I should say. As including Hafter in that. And then Marty Teitelbach on an early goal power play. I think that set the tone. I think Jake Rubenstein had a little bit health problems and still fought through the pain. Scored a goal. Sal Sandell had faced a bunch of tough opportunities. SR had a bunch of opportunities to score on Sal Sandell, and Sal shut them down. Really just an impressive all-around game. Any notes from this game?
They fought like their lives were on the line, and they were.
Yeah, exactly.
It was really, it was totally unexpected. They prevented, they saved themselves from humiliation. They really did.
Exactly.
Job's still not done. But it's kind of unbelievable that the team that got the most heat throughout this season are now the ones flying high and getting all the attention from us fans, and that just goes to show you the beauty of sports.
Exactly. The last thing you could do is take the pedal off the metal against Rambam.
And for both our JV teams, both basketball and hockey, 2 weeks ago, the narrative was not great, and now. Yeah. Just one night at SAR, one day against Frisch, and then one night at SAR changed all that.
Span of 36 hours, and suddenly we're incredibly confident. Not incredibly confident,
right?
We're way more confident than we were about.
They really gotta take it to Rambam early, because the longer it stays at 0-0, the more pressure they're going to feel. Before that, I think there are going to be a lot of people paying close attention to the DRS Frisch game.
Exactly.
Because the winner will determine who TABC go to. But it's kind of crazy to think that TABC just are 2 games away from playing in a championship game.
Exactly. It's also crazy that now we're scoreboard watching teams who we're going to play in the playoffs. That's crazy. Just 24 hours ago. We were feeling a little bit dim on our chances that tie, a loss, or even a tie, if we play them well, and it's going to beat SAR, one of the best teams in the league, a team that beat Frisch. Suddenly we're eliminated, and now we're looking at who we're going to be playing in the playoffs in just a span of 20 or so hours.
I think I would prefer the Frisch playoff matchup over DRS. I think we played Frisch a lot tighter compared to when DRS came to Teaneck, and I think it's very hard to beat a team 3 times.
Yeah. Teams know each other very well, and we played Frisch better. The first time we played them well, but we got much better the second time we played Frisch.
Right.
And I think it also, as
we were the better team, in fact.
Selfishly, I want to play Frisch. I mean, I want to go to I don't want to have to drive to the 5 towns or go on team bus, or honestly for the players. But like it could be. It's probably harder to go to the 5 towns than it is for to go right across the street to Frisch, theoretically.
Right.
But
right.
You think there'd be a pit if they played Frisch, JV, and Frisch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, maybe
not like the spot in the finals on the line for sure.
Maybe not like the pit that we had like at the DRS game, but certainly a pit.
I think all the varsity hockey players would show up.
Exactly. I think nearly all the seniors would show up. This is like.
So that's another advantage of playing in Frisch.
Yeah. And I'm saying
you might not get juniors and seniors to drive to the 5 towns.
Yeah.
Right.
And not blaming them. Like it's a rough drive to the 5 towns from Teaneck.
And I don't know. The longer we have a season, are we getting more and more optimistic that a Dean Cattler will suit up?
Yeah, I think so. I feel like we have to this Rambam game is nearly a month. Like we have like 28 days until this Rambam game, and if playoffs
time now.
Exactly.
Because the championship game is on March 9th, so you have a lot of flexibility now to just get one playoff game in before that day.
Exactly. So you basically have, theoretically, obviously we're not playing on March 8th, but I'm saying you could have pretty much 2 months for Dean Cattler to heal, which could be massive for this team, especially with a break against Rambam and these teams.
I'm sure it was hard for him last night not being able to suit up against them.
Yeah. He was on the call. Did a good job on the call. Yeah. At least we got to hear him.
Not to get too ahead of ourselves, but there's a possibility that all 4 TBC teams, that the 4 biggest teams, are all in the championship.
You're getting far ahead of yourself.
That's a little far ahead, but JV hockey is 2 wins away.
Let's start with the semifinals.
JV hockey is the closest among those 4 teams.
Let's start with the semifinals. JV hockey already clinched this. Not clinched. If they win against Allen, they clinched the semifinals. Weirdly enough, I
also thought it was very refreshing to see someone like Zach Field back out there in terms of making the rotation. I thought his presence was felt last night. Obviously Marty had the power play goal. Jake Rubenstein had the insurance goal. I thought David Ratzerstorfer and Jack Solomon were great backing up Sal Sandell in goal. It was everything was listen, Frisch was well executed. It's just the bounces didn't go our way.
Exactly.
It was executed and the bounces went our way.
Exactly. Everything. This is what we envision when we keep on saying this TBC team has the talent. They just need to capitalize on opportunities to beat these great teams.
Listen, I would say all 4 teams who are going to be in the playoffs have a real shot at winning the whole thing,
or at least making the semifinals.
Yeah. I think all 3 of us didn't know how the tiebreaker worked originally. We thought we were done after the DRS game because we thought the first tiebreaker was head-to-head and not total wins. So,
we had another game to spare. Not only do we exactly
right.
So, really,
apparently that's always been the tiebreaker. It's not just this season.
Oh wow. We went 2-1 this week. If you told me before this week that we'd go 2-1, I would say
with the varsity hockey team losing.
Even without the varsity hockey team losing, I'd say awesome 2-1. That means one of the JV teams won. Even without that, thrilling, great stuff. Any other sports? Anything else, Oren, that you'd like to highlight?
Ice hockey had a tough loss the other night. They actually gave up the game-winning goal with 5 seconds left in the game.
Ooh.
But yeah, we still love Zeke on this show. Wrestling.
I think Zeke is the only ice hockey player we've ever talked about.
Yeah. Wrestling hosted Hashtag Hills last night. As they head into break, ended in a 7-7 tie. But before you know it, once we get back from Yeshiva break, they'll be gearing up for Wittenberg, which is pretty much your season. So hopefully we'll have a big Wittenberg.
Wittenberg will be in under a month after we come
President's Day weekend, and it's hosted at Frisch.
Exactly. So we're
I definitely encourage people to go to the finals. It's very, even myself, who's not a big wrestling guy, I got really into it that weekend.
Yeah. So once we're after Yeshiva week, maybe we'll do a little more promotions. Then spring sports coming up. Your roster was finalized, Oren.
Yeah, and while this is our last show this semester, we still have one more game to preview. This Motzei Shabbos.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot about that game. Yeah, that's on me. Varsity basketball, big game, a rematch at the Cooper tournament. During midterms, weirdly enough, TBC going to MDY Motzei Shabbos. Oren, you know a lot more than I do about the stuff, especially about the other conference. What can you tell us about this MDY team and what do you expect there?
It's never easy to go to Brooklyn. It's a long drive, a lot of travel involved. Mag and David are the defending champions, and while they're considered not as strong as they were last year, you can never take them for granted. They have one of, if not the best player in the league, in Josh Shabbat.
I remember from last year.
And they took us to overtime. They took us to overtime in Memphis, so they already know that they have the belief and capability to beat this TABC varsity team. So, I think if TABC are able to pull off this win at Mag and David, they should be able to win the rest of their games and cement the 1 seed in their conference because, one slip up and the door opens right back up. The door opens right back for SAR.
Exactly. This MDY team 7-4. Their 4 losses have come on the hands of twice by DRS, by North Shore, and by Frisch. So there's certainly reason to be optimistic for this game for TABC. They beat a lot of the teams that have lost. They beat Frisch. Frisch handled MDY. But on the other hand, this MDY team played us tough. It's not necessarily about who you beat. It's how you play, obviously. So I think we're looking forward to a good game there. This is the first time this team has been in action. I think there have been a lot this team has been the longest time.
Yeah, they've had a long break since they
Yeah,
haven't
the last time they
played
played is the Winter Classic.
the Winter Classic. Yeah,
Nearly a month ago, and they're gonna have another 3-week break. Back-to-back home. Oh, I'm sorry, not back-to-back home games. Sorry.
no, when they
Yeah.
get back, they play at Frisch, and then they have senior night the night after.
Exactly. So that week is
I'm playing JEC on the back. It's better to play Frisch first than play.
completely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
than
so
play
that
JEC.
week,
Yeah.
that week is going to be absolutely nuts. That'll be like pretty much the last week of the regular season. Like the 2 weeks after winter break are going to be quite crazy, I'd say. I mean, yeah. I just give the schedule for that. That Wednesday night at the winter break, varsity hockey is going to Frisch. Thursday night is senior night for basketball, doubleheader JC. Motzei Shabbos, varsity hockey is going to Hank on February 1st. Then on Sunday, going to Boca, JV basketball. Monday night, along with Boca, JV hockey is playing at home versus Rambam. And then on Tuesday night, home versus Kushner. So that is a wild week. Like basically from Wednesday to Tuesday, there's probably between excluding JV basketball, there's like 5 games, then plus JV basketball and Boca, which obviously most of us are not going to be going to. But there's going to be a lot going on that week. We'll preview it when we come back from break. Anything else you'd like to mention, Oren?
Well, our amazing producer suggested a final segment before we sign off for the semester. It's too bad we don't have like people calling in or voting. But I guess I would put you on the spot, Ellie. What was your favorite sports moment of the CBC of this first half of the season?
First half of the season. I'd have to say that. Well, I'm gonna say the Winter Classic in general. That was an incredible night. Thank you. We've thanked Oren and everyone before. Like, thank you again.
Robert Stone.
Exactly. All who put it together, Robert Stone, whoever, everyone who did it, that was a great job. But 2 moments there that specifically stood out. That win against DRS. I'm sure I'm missing moments, by the way. I'm sure I'm gonna miss an obvious moment. Beating DRS that night, which is widely considered the other best team in the league. That was big. And not only beating them handily. The other moment was Ayal Kindler, ice in his veins, free throws against Ramaz. Oddly reminiscent of last year, Sarachek Shalhevet versus Shalhevet, where he hit those free throws. And same thing here. What a comeback. Back from down at like 8 with 2 minutes left, we're able to come back and defeat them in overtime. Eerily similar, in my opinion. And what about you, Oren and Noak, if you have any thoughts?
Winter Classic is definitely up there for me. I would say the Sunday game was a very enjoyable moment.
Definitely. I didn't want to say recency bias.
Up after that, like I just wanted the game to be close, and the fact that it was basically the same game that we experienced, but the script flipped. That was pretty enjoyable. And listen, I think both varsity teams are where we expected them to be. But I'm loving the JV basketball story right now, and I'm loving the JV hockey journey right now because they didn't make the playoffs last year, and the fact that you just have to beat Rambam at home, and the demons of last year are shaken off. It's crazy. Job well done to JV hockey on last night.
Yeah. I thought Noak and I should have a redemption article if they make the playoffs. Just a
Wait
suggestion.
till after the Rambam game because right now it's
but if they beat Rambam, I think we may have a chance for a redemption article. We'll see. Noak, do you have any favorite moments from this?
Oh, obviously, it was a great semester. I could go last night. I could go. The SCR game was fun. The game here, the basketball game in TABC was also fun against Frisch. But I think it's going to be opening night for me. First game of the season for all TABC sports. TABC at Frisch, just to set the tone for the whole season. Obviously getting the Frisch game out of the way first, and it was a fun game to go to, and they won 7-2. So,
yeah, man, that seems like ages ago now.
Oh my gosh, yeah. 3 months ago at this point.
Yeah.
2 months ago at this point. Sorry, not 3 months. Definitely not 3 months. That would put it in early October. Just an honorable mention to that home SAR game. The pit was going crazy that game. That was things got a little chippy that game, but that was not the point. The point is that the pit went wild. The best the pit has been this year. I was not able to attend the first game, so I don't know. But
the basketball game in TBC against Frisch, and obviously the students didn't come out there, and the Frisch fans were louder than TBC fans, and just to go out there and play.
Well, I think that also qualifies as a good moment because it was a Frisch pit, and we pretty much silenced them that night.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then the second half, the juniors stepped up, so it proved that TBC is not only run by the seniors, the juniors can also step up.
I hate by Noah Kessler running the pit that night. Noah Kessler, shout out. Noah was waiting for me to say that. Well, thank you all so much for listening. At Soccer Alba, if you're taking midterm finals or whatever they call it, I don't know what they call it at this point.
Hawk, this is your first one? This is your first time taking midterms or finals?
No, I took it last year, shockingly. Last year. Did not take finals last year. Well, thank you all so much for listening. We'll see you all next time after break. Everyone enjoy your break if you're at school, and have a great day.
Come Basel, baby! Come Basel!